Can I just go back to the issues regarding this hate legislation? A good example of that would be if there was a conversation on this program, say next year, where people were giving their views on transgenderism, right? And would be entitled to an opinion on it. Say, for instance, transgenderism when it came to sport, bathroom facilities, prisons. That then would be deemed an offence if somebody listening to people on the air having that opinion got upset by it, and that could then be investigated by An Garda Síochána. So it's going to be very murky waters going forward if this is passed. I mean, we do need hate laws. People can't say whatever they want about things. You have to have some kind of controls, but it's about whether it's gone too far or not. But just on this topic for now, an interesting conversation for you with Anig. She's from a group called Not All Gays Ireland. And I want to have a quick chat with her if you don't mind. Anig, thanks for holding. Good morning. With regards, can you hear me okay? You can?
Hi, Neil. Yes, I can hear you.
With regards to this conversation, we were talking with the Senator before 11 on this. What are your thoughts on it? Because you have particular interest, obviously, with regards to sexual orientation. But where are you guys at with this? It's a small group of you have come together, is it?
So it's a group of 9 young LGBT people from Ireland, and one of the reasons that we actually formed the group was because of this hate crime bill and the threat it poses to us having our freedom of expression to say that we are same-sex attracted. And we believe that the hate speech element of this will curtail that. We have all experienced being called hateful both online and in person for saying that we're same-sex attracted and not same-gender attracted. We'd be fearful that we would face prosecution. In Norway, where they have a similar law already enacted, there was a woman, Christina Ellingson, who put out a tweet online saying that men cannot be mothers or lesbians, and she faced criminal investigation and was facing 3 years in prison for saying that biological males cannot be lesbians, just on a tweet. And their laws are not quite as extreme as this.
Well, wait a second. So somebody was sent to jail for saying that men could not have babies.
So I'm not sure what stage of the investigation it's at, but she did have to go in for interview and the whole investigation process.
So if I were to say, because last time I checked, men could not have babies, is that a crime now to say that? Or will it be?
Well, she was reported by someone online and for saying that men could not be mothers or lesbians, and she faced an investigation. I'm not sure what stage that investigation is at this point, but the maximum that she could receive is 3 years over there, whereas here it's 5 years is the maximum if it's trial on indictment.
Wow, we live in very interesting times, though. If that's how far it would go, don't we? I mean, I would have thought somebody within your group, whether if you were lesbian, gay, bisexual, you would very much welcome any strengthening of hate laws. Because hate speech would be defined as, threatening or abusive behaviour, nasty comments made against somebody on the basis of, say, their sexual orientation. Am I misreading it?
So we do have to strike a balance. Hate crimes are obviously a thing that do need to be tackled, and the 1989 Act doesn't provide enough cover for where we are currently in society. But the hate speech element it's the part that's an issue, and without hate being defined or what it constitutes hate, we're going down a very slippery slope here. Not only is it curtailing free speech, which back in the day when homosexuality was illegal, if people found it offensive that we were fighting for our rights and free speech was illegal, we would not have gained the rights that we have today.
So we have legislation already that exists where people can't say hurtful things or slurs against somebody because they're gay. It is none of their business if somebody is gay, so they shouldn't be allowed to make comments that are hurtful or hateful.
Exactly. We're already protected in law in multiple acts, the Public Order Act, the Non-Fatal Offences Act, and any hate element is taken into consideration upon sentencing as an aggravating factor and would impose a harsher sentence. So it's unclear why we need this level of control over our speech. I think
well, maybe it's needed to protect the rights of transgender people then.
Possibly. I just think that it's important to note for your listeners that may not know what's actually happening within the extended LGBT community, that there's a very real discourse and vitriol from certain characters in the acronym against particularly lesbians are being told that they are hateful, or I have personally been called transphobic, a bigot, right-wing, or even a Nazi for saying that I will not have sexual or romantic relationships with biological males, regardless of how they identify or express themselves through clothing. And because I am a lesbian, I'm same-sex attracted. Is that not the same homophobia that lesbians faced back in the 80s?
Yes, I see what you're. I see what you're saying. That you should actually have sex with a trans male-born trans woman.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
I've experienced that, and it's been deemed as hateful to say that online and in person. I've been told that as well, so by members of the LGBT community, and the fear is that now if they find that hateful, that they will report me and I will have to go through a criminal investigation. Whether it would hold up in court is irrelevant. I would still have to go to a guard station, provide all my devices. My entire family, as Sharon said, would have to provide their devices as well.
And would all of this stem from the fact that you have a belief, which is yours and personal, the biological reality that there are two sexes, you say, and only ever will be? Yes,
that it stems from that. And if we remove...
But surely that's not going to be a prosecutable offence to say that.
Well, under this, it may be, if we do not define what is hate speech, when we have every member of Not All Gays has been told that they're hateful for even saying online that there is the biological reality that there is two sexes. That is, I've been called hateful for that as well. So when
you might get grief for it, but how could you be prosecuted for it? Firstly, you believe it. Certainly, it was taught to you biologically. This is what we were led to believe, that you were born either male or female. Okay, you may be able to change your gender, and off you go if you decide to do that. But you have to be born either a man or a woman, male or female. So, you're not going to go to jail for saying that. Sure, that's a fact.
But under this legislation, you may be, when the word hate is not defined. And it's up to interpretate. It's a subjective issue. Then,
like if somebody goes into it's wide open. Then you say, like if somebody went into the library, as has happened here in Cork on a number of occasions, and tears up a copy of the book, This Book is Gay, because they say that it's teaching children about pornography and gay sex and anal sex and how to perform sex acts as children. If you protested that in a democracy, would that be deemed to be a prosecutable offence under the new hate legislation?
Possibly there's a possibility that would be considered hateful to say that children should not be exposed to material in schools or in libraries, in the children's section of a library, that explicitly explain how to pleasure another person. Why we would be teaching that just because it's about gayness. The book is about being gay or lesbian or bisexual. That it could be, under this legislation, considered hateful and homophobic.
But it takes away people's rights to protest or to rally, doesn't it?
Yes, it takes away the constitutional right to free speech and the right to protest.
Okay, and you are you calling for people to get involved in this conversation? Then is it too little, too late now at this stage?
Yeah, well, the debate, it's still only at the second stage in the Seanad, so the debate is going to continue next Wednesday evening, and as Sharon said earlier on the call, that she would encourage people, and we would encourage people to write to their TDs. Several members of the Seanad during the debate were saying that that this will protect gay people and using the LGBT acronym as a tool to push this through, that we need protecting. We are protected. We are protected already through law, and not all gays agree with controlling speech, compelling speech.
Yeah.
It's important. It's important for within the LGBT community that we have an open discourse and a healthy debate, and that we can voice our concerns. To improve all of our lives.
Okay, but I had a lot of people on the air during COVID, of course, and many of them believed that it was a lie. And that it was, lockdown was criminal, what it did to people and how it affected their lives. Would that be deemed, somebody says COVID was a lie, is that could then be deemed as a hate crime?
I'm not sure if that would fall in the remit, but...
so somebody could take offence to it whose mother died from COVID could take offence to a remark like that, though. Report it to the Gardaí. Potentially,
I'm not sure about potentially. I'm not sure with the COVID, the two sides of the COVID debate.
Just using it as an example of things that we said that we talk about on live radio. Issues like that.
If someone found it hateful when this bill is controlling speech and how we voice our concerns, that it's so controlled, I don't think that the COVID would necessarily fall within the protected characteristics in this bill, but other topics where there is a serious kind of polarizing effect in a debate, I think anything that falls within a protected characteristic, that we are going to be controlled. Our speech is going to be compelled, and not all gays agree with compelled speech.
Okay. Freedom of expression is a fundamental aspect of living in a free, open and accepting society. So says you. Thank you for that, Anik. Thanks for taking the call. Do stay in touch. Cheers. We got